And we are getting started with the very first loop, which is the while loop. As usual, all you have to learn is the format for the loop, and it is as simple as this. You simply say while. While is actually a keyword. Followed by while will be the parenthesis. Within the parenthesis, you have to specify the condition at which you want the repetition to continue to take place. So you are simply saying, I want to continue repeating once this condition is met. After which you will follow it by the curly brackets, within which you will specify the actions to be performed. It's like actually saying this is the action I actually want you to repeat as far as the condition within the parenthesis is met. So actually seeing this in action, I would like to write a simple program that will print out numbers between 1 and 10. The very first thing I'll be doing is providing a starting point through a variable. So I am going to create a variable and name it counter. I'm going to set this variable to my starting point, which is 1. Remember, I want to start from 1 to 10. Once this is done, then I can proceed to the loop. So all I'm going to say now is while. Remember, while is a keyword. This will be followed by the parenthesis. Remember, within the parenthesis, we are going to specify a condition. So you might be wondering, what condition am I going to specify now? I'm simply going to say counter. So while counter is less than or equal to 10. This is the condition. Remember, counter is currently at 1. And I want to repeat the fact that I want numbers between 1 and 10. So while the value for counter is less than or is equal to 10, what should happen? The action. And we are going to specify the action where? Inside the curly bracket. So the question now is, what action do you want to perform while the counter is less than 10? Simple. I just want you to print out the value for counter. Finish. But there is a problem, and this is currently the value for counter is 1. So this will continue to print out 1 1 1 1 1. We've actually entered an infinite loop. So we need to set something that will continue to increase the value for counter by 1. You still remember how to do that? If you've forgotten, let me just quickly refresh your memory. What I'll simply say is counter plus plus. And so some of you right now are like, oh, okay. So this is exactly what to do. This will ensure that the value of counter continues to increase until the condition specified within the while loop is met. So at this point now you are looking, okay, let's see the result. Alright, I'll just save this and come here and refresh this. You notice numbers between 1 and 10. Now for this to actually be formatted nicely, all I will do is this. I want to add the HTML line break to this so that every number will stay on its own line like this. So I'll just come here and refresh this so you can see everything neatly printed out on its own line. So you see now, in just like a few lines of code, I printed out numbers between 1 and 10 instead for me to say echo 1 2 3 4 like that. Nah, that can be very stressful. So you can play around with this. Something else we want to do now is a countdown. Let's say we want to count from 10 to 1. Now look at this code very well. How do you think you can achieve that? You might pause this video and try that on your own, or we could just continue together. To solve that simple problem, one way you can do it is simply by changing this counter to 10, because this time around our starting point will be 10 and not 1. We want to count down from 10 to 1. Now the condition here is going to be while counter is actually greater than or equal to 1. Take note of that. That is the condition. Now what I will now do is come down here. Instead of increasing, I'm going to be decreasing the value through the loop. So I'll just save this and refresh this, and you notice that we have a very nice countdown. How easy this is. So this is just a basic example of how to make use of the while loop in PHP. So play around with those examples while we move on to the very next loop we would like to talk about, which is the do while loop. And as always, I am waiting for you in the next video.